Mommytrack Daddy Whispers Podcast is now called Birth Agni Podcast.
Welcome to Mommytrack Daddy Whispers Podcast Season 2.
There are two incidents on which this episode is based. I was witness to them. One was very unpleasant, and the second was a breather. But both of these events highlight a problem that is deeply rooted in our culture. My name is Divya. Long time and no parenting podcast. That is what I've been getting in my inbox all through season 2. I was already wondering about the swift drift of season 2 from season 1, from toddler-centric episodes to childbirth and pregnancy. I was wondering how you guys would take it. But parenting is a journey. It starts with pregnancy and childbirth and then parenting. So we wanted to make it a more comprehensive podcast. So that is essential to me. And yeah, right, that's the reason. And yes, point noted, alongside seasoned episodes, you will now be bombarded with my life, Divi, toddler-centric episodes, and much more frequently from now on. So let me give you those two events that I talked about right at the start. I was witness to them, and they kind of compelled me to take up today's topic. So in the first event, there was this little boy, all of 5 or 6 years old. He was sitting with his aunt in the main room, eating, and the aunt was trying to coax him to eat in a certain way, so that the food does not spill. She said, "Eat like this, and the food will not fall out of your plate, okay?" The child tried, and the food still spilled. She again helped. "No, not like that. I told you to keep the bowl closer, okay?" The child looked confused. He raised his eyebrows now, tried to fiddle around with the bowl in the plate, and the food did not spill. Aunt said, "Oh, that's not right. That's not how you keep the bowl. It's not proper. How many times do I have to tell you?" "But I'm unable to eat with the bowl on that side of the plate. I promise I will not let the food fall." "You think that, but if you keep the bowl closer, the food will not fall for sure." "But why do I have to do that?" the child reacted. His parents were in the other room. All they heard was the last bit, and all hell broke loose. They ran to the main room, and I thought probably they'll ask, "What happened? Why did you react like that? You could have said that politely." However, what I saw was traumatizing both to the child and to me as a witness, as a mother. The child was not asked a thing. He was physically and verbally abused right then and there. Nobody blinked an eye. In another similar event, another child of the same age, she answered back to her grandmom while we were all sitting together, "I don't want to talk to you." And moments before, they were in the other room, the grandmom and her, and she was playing. And she came in to the main room, agitated, followed by her grandmom. And the child did not say anything. She kept playing around us. And as soon as the grandmom entered, she started shaming the child, saying, "Is that how you children do not listen to us elders?" And she went on and on and on. And that's when the child lost it and said, "But I don't want to talk to you." We were observing this and trying to understand what really happened. And the grandmom continued, "I cannot be more humiliated. Is that what grandparents are for? How are today's children raised anyway?" And she left the room. The child started crying. The mother, who was in the same room, she heard this quietly. She had come into the room just before the child and the grandma. She got up, went to the daughter, and said, "I know what happened. You are angry, and you're rightly so. Anybody would be. Let's talk to your grandma and sort this out. I only want to say that you should tell me when something troubles you, right? We'll sort this out. You should not talk like that to anybody. That was rude. You would not like it if that happened to you, right? Grandma did not like it. So let's go and talk to her. She kissed her daughter on the forehead and they both left the room. I smiled. It touched me deep down. I was later told that the child was being shamed for not keeping the toys in order while it played. And notice I said shamed and not being told. The tone and the way we say things is so important. It's so significant in all our relationships, let alone children. So those were the two episodes that led us to the topic today, children and the respect paradox. Why the paradox? Wasn't it supposed to be simple? Respect is respect, yeah? It is often, however, enforced in an entirely different perspective. I'm splitting this into the what, the why, and the how. We'll discuss the why first, what second, and how third. Why? Why the paradox? Let us first understand what respect is. Again, I have split this into two forms. The first is that is a natural feeling that automatically comes to you and it shows and it translates in your behavior with somebody. So that is to say that when you admire somebody, when you start admiring somebody, it shows in how you behave with them in different settings. The second form of respect would be where you as an individual take everybody's stance in life in different situations from a neutral standpoint. If somebody disagrees with you, you do not misbehave with them. It is a conscious state. It is a learned art that allows each person their own space. Why the paradox then? Respect your elders. That's how we enforce it. I could never understand why it was unidirected. Why it was directed to one single audience. Why were we never told respect everybody, including yourself? Confusing respect with obedience. When children were not explained how to respect, were told time and again to respect, I think it translated somewhere down the line into obedience, which reflects specifically in how society deals with children. If a child does not listen to you, even if an adult does not listen to an elder for that matter, it is titled as disrespect. So why the paradox? That's why the paradox. What are we dealing with in this episode? We are not dealing with the paradox itself. We are not trying to fix the paradox. The paradox has flowed from generation to generation, and that is okay. What has flowed has flowed. If any of us realize now that there has been something wrong in the way it has been enforced in our society, we can always prevent it from flowing down to the future generations. That is where children come in. But how do we do that? Respecting everybody is very important. But instead of saying, respect your elders, which can actually get internalized as obey your elders, choose to say and imply, respect everyone and teach how respect, that conscious state, is achieved. It takes time, it will take time. We are all born with folly. The first form of respect is born naturally, where you admire somebody. The second form, wherein you allow everybody the difference of opinions, is learned. It is acquired through numerous experiences that we deal with. If children ask back, if they are curious, if they're straightforward, then ask them with respect. What led to them being angry? And sometimes children are not trying to be rude. They get irritated, they get angry. Sometimes they're plain straightforward, and that hurts us. But why should I do that? Is a straightforward question. We get offended because a child questions us back, and we do not know how to handle unfavorable responses. The problem is we were always taught, respect your elders. But we were deep down as children never respected back. We were told to do things. We were punished for not doing things the way they should be. We were never respected as children when we thought otherwise and expressed ourselves in little decisions all our childhood. Respect your elders soon became internalized as obey your elders because wrong examples were set forward. You cannot undo the years of internalization, but you can fix responses to certain situations, to these situations. The second example where the child is dealt with politely, that is with respect, even if she was rude, and it was a natural response to an unfavorable situation to her, she was shown what respect can do. Now she would internalize that I can handle any situation by talking it out instead of lashing out. I can choose to be quiet and respond in a politer way because her mother responded in a politer way. When such examples are put forward throughout the child's development, it helps build trust. It helps build a stronger foundation, a confident foundation. It helps build the ability to learn from mistakes without the urge to harm and ridicule others, or ourselves for that matter. We learn to accept unfavorable responses from others, remain polite, and still have a choice to do what we want. That is, there is no emotional burden to live our lives according to others, based on the wrong notion of respect. You can respect people and still give them space to do things they want. Actually, you respect people, which is why you give them the space to do things they want, even if it differs from you, your own opinion. That is respect. Now, what the first kind of response, the backlash, does is it robs the child of curiosity, the right to ask questions, especially when it comes to elders. And this is riskier than we think. In most of the child assault cases, children can be easily manipulated to not speak up, to be muted, to be scared. And since they know that they have had backlash earlier when they asked uncomfortable questions, they don't open up. It's riskier than we think it is. Similar responses, backlash in similar situations, it starts building a distrust in the child for its parents and people around. So it would start hiding things from, its parents and people around. When he thinks or she thinks, those things will bring in a backlash. It would start distancing themselves. Children will start distancing themselves from people. They get in trouble with time and again, where they know they'll not be understood. A sense of low self-worth can emerge later in life. And children with such frequent similar responses develop a sense of their own self-worth in respecting others. Self-worth, self-respect is learned with greater difficulty when, we start connecting with different people and understanding who we are. We fight the need to be respected in return of respecting others. So those are the things that happen when a child is met with frequent backlash on expressing himself or herself. Those are the repercussions. And here's a funny example. I was told to respect elders and to make sure that I said namaste when I met them, because I heard women coming back and people coming back to my mother and complaining that she doesn't greet them. So I was very obedient. I have always been very obedient. So I made it a point that I would say namaste to everybody. When my mom said that you should greet everyone. There was this aunt whom I'll meet every now and then in the evenings on the road. She would be going somewhere and I will be playing at my door, and I would make sure that when she sees me, I will say namaste. And this aunt, she would mostly ignore me. So I would wait for her to come closer and I would say namaste time and again until she would respond back. So when I remember this, when I think about it, I realize how we were never taught self-respect. It's just funny how self-respect is learned much, much later in life, and it's not internalized just the way we internalize respect on the surface. And I later understood that respect is something that you give to others, and it's not something that you ask for. So here's a confession. I've fought my urge to be obedient and to be respectful to others, even when I felt I was being humiliated. And I thought maybe I don't understand respect in the way it is. And I felt that probably I am wrong somewhere. If I'm not able to understand why I'm being humiliated by somebody I respect. So it took me time. It took me time to understand the different flavors of life. So that's a confession I have to make. And the last bit on how we respond to children when they misbehave or even generally is rooted in the power game. You did a mistake, you're careless. You're this and that. Your elders did a mistake. Oops, mistake. You can be verbally abused, but you cannot ask a straightforward question. You can be beaten, but you cannot even play and hurt them. And then children start reflecting this in the way they behave with other children. And, that's something that I've seen around me. And that's something that I think is really, really important. How children behave with the other children actually reflects how they've been dealt with. Especially younger children, the power game is very evident in children. Thrashing and yelling at younger children, exercising power and controlling children younger to you, wanting them to listen to everything you have to say, expecting being respected by them and not returning the same. So children start reflecting that power game when they are playing, when they are around other children who are younger to them. And that's something that needs to be kept an eye at. That's something that wherein we need to enter. And probably that's another opportunity to normalize respecting everybody, to normalize not, that power game is not how you deal in life. So you'll have to do all the unlearning and learning later in life, wherein you realize that power game doesn't really exist. And in the previous episodes, we've also discussed about treating children the way you'd like to be treated as an adult. This method is rooted in building the concept of respect with children. So all of parenting, I think it is about respecting the child. It is about, dealing with the child the way you would want to be dealt with as an adult and the way you would deal with another adult. So respect is a conscious state. It provides each one of us the space to work with our differing opinions, with our independent ideas. We can mistake and we are all human, and we might not even thrash ourselves so much if we were, shown respect, the concept of respect, the way it is right from the start. Respect is not obedience. Respect is in the love we offer and receive. Respect is in being allowed to express emotions and not being ridiculed for that. Respect is in not misbehaving with others. We lead by example and do not misbehave with children in uncomfortable situations, in unfavorable situations. So I'll leave you on that note. And now the parenting tip of the episode. So the parenting tip of the episode today will be something that I've not said before. Usually the parenting tip of the episode is fun, is playing, dancing with the children and everything. But today, since this entire paradox is so evident around us, this entire paradox is very much a part of our society, and it translates into, our corporate culture, the way we are in the society from time to time, even when we become an adult. I think it's a societal responsibility to prevent it from going to the future generation. So if you see a situation where a child is not dealt with respect and you cannot say something at that point in time, make sure when all you parents, when all you mothers sit together and you're just generally talking on a lighter note, talk about these things. Talk about, measures on how children need to be dealt with. Why cannot we make this a part of our general conversation? Why cannot we, bring light to things like this? Let's do that. Let's do that. So, it can happen that, in the situation when something's not right is happening, you cannot speak up because, nobody will listen to you when they're being blamed. But in general conversations, when we keep bringing these topics, we can make a lot of impact. Let's do that together. And if you want to say something to somebody and you cannot, please send them the link to this podcast. And I think we can solve this together. On that note, I would say bye-bye. If you like listening to us, please subscribe, download, and share. If you want to ask some question, if you want to write to us, maybe just a normal greeting, hi, hello, you want to connect, please do that. You can listen to us on all your favorite podcasting apps. I'm very much active on Instagram. You can follow me there. You can follow us and subscribe us. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye. Take care. Happy parenting. Keep listening.